The United Nations reports attacks against its mission personnel, while UN property was also set alight, as MONUSCO warns that weakening its capacity means strengthening the negative forces, including the M23 in the country.
Weekend, civilians protesting the rising insecurity in the eastern part of their country targeted UN staff and assets in Kinshasa. They set fire to several UN vehicles and burned tires in front of diplomatic installations, including our own premises. Fortunately, no UN personnel was injured. In a statement on Saturday, Bintou Keita, the head of the mission, condemned the attacks on UN staff and called for the Congolese judicial authorities to launch investigations with a view of prosecuting the perpetrators. She stressed that threats and attacks against UN staff and their families are unacceptable, noting that these assaults have a negative impact on the implementation of the respective mandates of the UN agencies, funds, and programs, and the entire UN system, including the peacekeeping mission known as MONUSCO.
Met in closed consultations and issued the following statement to the press after a briefing by the Under-Secretary General for Peace Operations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, while condemning the targeting of the UN.
Council members condemned the M23's offensive near Goma in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, launched on 7th of February. They reiterated their condemnation of all armed groups operating in the country. They expressed concern about the escalation of violence and the sustained tension in the region. They reiterated their full support to the sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity of the DRC. Council members called on all actors to end violence and respect international humanitarian law. They called on all parties to resume diplomatic dialogue and express support to all efforts aimed at reaching a cessation of hostilities.
A three-phase withdrawal of the 15,000-strong UN peacekeeping force is already underway and is expected to be completed before the end of the year, while its protection mandate continues.
Reporting the mission is doing its utmost to protect civilians in the east, including through support of the Congolese armed forces, and that is the Operation Springbok, and that is being conducted jointly with the Congolese army. And is currently ongoing with the additional deployment of a UN quick reaction force to Sake, North Kivu last week. Peacekeepers also continuing to protect main routes leading towards Goma and Sake to prevent the M23 from advancing towards both of those cities, which harbor a large number of displaced civilians.
Suspected M23 rebels fired on a UN helicopter in the Karubu region of North Kivu, injuring 2 South African peacekeepers. Actions which may constitute war crimes. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.